Good day everyone and welcome back to OAU Tech Made Easy. Today we are going to be taking a question from surface development and we'll be developing the surface of a square prism of side 50 millimeters. Um, as you can see, we have the plan here, which is the square prism, and we also have the front elevation, which is cut at some angles and at some lengths. I'm going to be drawing those parts now so you can see how it's done, and we'll proceed with the development of surfaces. As you can see, I have drawn the plan of the square prism 50 millimeters by 50 millimeters, and the next thing I'm going to be doing is to draw the front elevation of the prism. As you can see from the question, the front elevation of the prism is cut at some angles and some sides. I'm going to be drawing a 30-degree line from the left end here that will stretch all the way to the right end, and I'm also going to be drawing a line 38 millimeters from the left end that I'm going to be stretching up to the midpoints or the center line of the prism. Now I have completed my front elevation, and I want you to note that the height from top to bottom is 102 millimeters. That's for the square prism, and for the left end here you have the height of 38 millimeters from this point to this point, and the line I'm pointing out here is at an angle of 30 degrees to the horizontal plane. Now that I've completed my plan and my front elevation, the next step is to produce the development of the prism, which I'll be doing next by extending lines from here and from here. So I want us to note that surface development basically means unwrapping of solid objects on a 2D plane. For example, here we have a square prism. Now, if I was to unwrap my square prism, I'm going to be having something like this. I want us to note also that the sides, like each of these sides, are 50 millimeters, just like we have in our square prism. And in our model here, you can see this is also a square prism, taking the same shape as the one in our drawing. And if I was to unwrap this, I'm going to be getting 4 sides just like I have in my drawing. But now we are taking notes of the cuts from the front elevation, the cut from this 38 millimeter mark to the center line, also from here, which is 30 degrees to the horizontal. And to take note of those cuts, we have to project from those points into our development plane. So now I'm going to be projecting from those points into the development plane, and we're also going to show it in our model to show the true developments of this shape. Okay, now I've made the projection lines on my development plane. I have 3 projection lines. First one from the 38 millimeter mark here on the left end. I have the second one from this line at the midpoint, and I have the third one from the tip of the line, which is the 30-degree line from the horizontal. Now you will notice that I have also numbered the square prism 1, 2, 3, 4. Why I did that is to help me in marking off the points that need to be developed from my solid objects. Now I mark them points 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. In some other drawings, they start from point 0, but in this particular example, we are going to be starting from point 1 on the left end. And why my point 1 is on the left end is because from the drawing, we are told that this side is the seam, SEAM. Now, same meaning, that is where the solid object is unwrapped from. So this is my point 1, this is my point 2, which is visible when you view it from the front, and it's also in my front elevation. This is my point 3 on the right end, and my point 4, which is behind here. Since it's the same line with point 2, I have 2 and 4 here. Now, I also represented them on the development plane, point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, to show the 4 sides of the square prism: the first side, the second side, the third side, and the fourth side. The next step now is to mark off points on each of those sides with the guidance that's of the labeling I have done here. Now, for the first marking, I have my point 1 here, the 38 millimeter mark. I'm going to be marking 38 millimeters on the point 1. Now, tracing that line that you have projected from 38 millimeters, you have a mark here. Remember also that that line there goes from the 38 millimeter mark to the bottom of the prism, which is why I have another mark here at the bottom of the prism. Now, for my point 2 and my point 4, they have the same markings since they go from the top of the prism to these points on the 30-degree line I have drawn. So I'm going to be doing this on point 2 and on point 4. Point 2 I have from the top here to this point here. On point 4 I also have from the top here to this point here. Now on point 3 or side 3, I have from the top to this tip, the tip of the 30-degree line I drew. So I have the top here to this. Now that I have all my points, what is remaining for me to do is just to join the points together and to get the developed shape of the solid object. Now we have cut our model to be the exact replica of the drawing we have here. We cut it 30 degrees from the bottom, and we also have the cut from our point 1 to our point 2. What we're about to show you now is what we are going to get when we unwrap this solid object from seam 1. Now you can see the seam 1 is the part I'm holding on my left hand, and that's the part I'm going to be unwrapping from. So unwrapping the solid object, we are going to have a shape like this, which is what we are going to be showing on our drawing soon enough. So this is the shape we are hoping to get when we draw the development of the solid objects we have. Now, for us to produce that development on our drawing here, we have to take note of a few things. First, from our point 1, we see where the solid object goes from this 38 millimeter mark to the bottom. We are going to be thickening our lines here to replicate that, and we're also going to be joining point 1 to point 2. That's from this point to what we have here on point 2. Take note also that point 2 runs from this point at the top here to this midpoint where our 30-degree line passes through. We also replicate the same thing with our point 3 up to this tip, and from point 3 goes back to point 4. Since we can't see the back of this drawing, we know our point 2 and 4 takes the same shape and takes the same length, so we'll be replicating that. So, and point 4 goes back to point 1. In this part here, we are not labeling it point 1, but we know that it's going to be the same as the points we have here on 1 to complete the solid object. So doing that now, I've joined the top part of development from point 1 to point 2, up to point 4, and back to point 1, back to the start. For the bottom part now, you see that from our point 1, there is a straight line, which is the 30-degree line to the horizontal, up to point 3, and At the other side, it goes from point 3 all the way to point 1. So we are going to be doing that on our development here, drawing from point 1 through point 2, which is this midpoint here, projecting it this way, up to point 3 and back to point 1 through point 4. And this is the completion of the solid objects development. Now we have completed the development of our square prism, and as you can see, it matches with the model we have created here. Going back to where we started from, we drew our plan, a square prism, or sorry, a square shape of 50 millimeters for each side, and we projected the vertices of those plan upwards to draw the front elevation. Now the front elevation is meant to take the shape of a square here, but because in our question some parts of it were cut, so we have to replicate those parts. We have a 30-degree line here. Line is 30 degrees to the horizontal. We also have a line from the 38 millimeter mark here that runs up to the midpoint, or the line we have here, which is one of the edge of the square. So now after that, we projected lines from each point onto our development plane. Our development plane is 102 millimeters, which is the height of the prism, by 50 millimeters, which is the length of each side of the prism. 50 millimeters into 4 places to show that it's a square prism. So now doing all those, we mark off points by labeling our square prism 1, 2, 3 and 4, marking the points that the prism was cut at each side, side 1, side 2, side 3 and side 4, which is behind. So we show those points here on our development plane, and we join the points as they are shown on the front elevation to complete development. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.